Hey guys, Ian here with No Low Designs, and today I'm going to give you kind of a 40,000 mile review of my 21 Ridgeline. Now, it has been modified since 52 miles. It's had a 3.5-inch lift kit from Traxta, and then it's also kind of morphed into what it is today. It's changed up slightly, but we still have a little bit more lift than what we originally started out with. Either way, just going to talk give you some input about the modifications that I've done and things that I've noticed over the course of driving at those 40,000 miles, things that I like, some of the things that I don't like, and just kind of give you an overview here in the next few minutes about things that have gone well with owning the Ridgeline. So to start with, things that are good, it's been extremely reliable. Haven't had any issues with it, from drivetrain issues or anything like that. It's been rock solid, even though I'm definitely probably in the harder use case side of the day-to-day life that that truck sees. It's been great. I don't have any complaints with it. It's been very solid. It's very drivable. It's comfortable for long road trips. It's quiet. The mud tires do make it a little bit louder, but overall it's pretty quiet. So I do like the truck for those purposes. It fits 3 car seats. I got 3 kids. I can run all 3 of them in the truck at the same time, which is great. I don't have to have a different vehicle for that purpose or anything like that. So those are some bonuses at this point with the Ridgeline that I do like. As far as the fuel economy is concerned, I think it's probably quite good. However, being as modified as mine is currently, I only have somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think I'm averaging probably about 16, somewhere between 16 and 19 and a half, closing in on 20 if we're doing a road trip and we're really trying to stay tight with the speed limit. So those are some things ultimately from a use case perspective that have been good. I love the swing out tailgate. I almost never drop the tailgate like a normal truck. The swing out tailgate is awesome. The trunk is super useful. I use those things all the time, and it's almost ruined me for the possibility of like buying another truck if I wanted to build out another truck, just because I love those features so much in the Ridgeline. So those are some things that I like about it. As you can see, it does have a soft topper on the back. That soft topper is about 5 years old. It is holding up well. I did just have to put a new rear window in it, but that was about $100. I felt like that was completely reasonable for kind of a maintenance over a 5-year period of time. So that was good to know. That's been a great addition for me. It's very functional. It gives me relatively dry space. There's a little bit of water that does get in, but I have to fold it up and down quite frequently. I have tall loads. I have all kinds of stuff that goes in the bed of the truck on a regular basis. So having a soft topper is extremely functional and works out great with the Ridgeline, in my opinion. So those are some things that I do like about it. Some facts that I've found over time from using it on kind of a trails and more of an overlanding setup. It does have the ZF 9-speed transmission, which is, in my opinion, a big improvement over the Honda 6-speed transmission found in the earlier models of the Gen 2 Ridgeline, the 17, 18, and 19 model year. I do like the 9-speed transmission. It does still get hot. It is a single-speed single-speed transfer case, or however you want to say it. There's no low range in the Ridgeline. So that being said, I have added a puller fan to the factory transmission oil cooler that's around the front of the vehicle. So I did add a 5-inch spiral puller fan to that. And I also removed a heat sink and mounted it to the aluminum crash bar that's behind the bumper. That is also helping wick heat out of the system. So that's been a big improvement. It's allowed me to maintain trans temperatures at least 10 degrees lower, at least 10 degrees lower than I was previously able to get, and it's prevented any of these extreme runaway events where if we're doing like a long climb in Colorado, for instance, or something like that, where you're just constantly climbing, even if it doesn't seem like it, but you're always going up and up and up, you end up getting to the situation where the engine's working hard, and the transmission is working hard, and the collective cooling system in the truck is just not able to expel enough heat to get those temperatures back down. And kind of get one or the other. So for me personally, when I see 225 hit the scan gauge, I just call it and pull over and wait on it to cool back down before I take off. So the recovery time has increased drastically having the fan, and it's also prevented that kind of that state from happening sooner, which now that with that fan added. So that's been a big bonus, I think personally. Other than that, the whole system is still stock. There's not anything else added in there that is something that you can just go out and purchase. It's very much just the system with a fan added and heat sinked slightly different. So that's one of those things that I think you'll want to do if you plan on doing some any extensive climbing with the 9-speed or kind of the 2020 plus Ridgeline. Another thing to note is I always thought to myself, well, I need to put it in sport mode so I can lock it in gear when I'm going down a hill or something along those lines. And what I've found, and I think it's super interesting, is that if you have it in S1 going down a hill, you're actually going to end up accelerating somewhere on the order of maybe about 15 miles an hour is kind of where it starts to like it keeps you right around 15 miles an hour if the hill's steep enough. Otherwise, obviously, you can go slower. But the thing that I found that I think is interesting is I used to get really mad about that personally. It was very frustrating because I'm like, why is first gear is typically not this fast? Why are we going so fast in first? And I found that if you leave it in drive and put it in first, so if you're just in drive normally, tap the paddle, put yourself in first gear, it's actually going to hold you to about 10 miles an hour. So drive in first is going to keep you at a slower pace and a slower speed than sport in first. And I think that's probably because sport is meant to be sportier, where you're driving and you're getting held back and things like that, not necessarily just driving along. And I'm guessing that's why the tuning's different on the truck, but it took me a really long time to figure that out. And it's come in handy now that I know it, because I do it more frequently. I'll just leave it in drive if I'm going to go down a hill, and I know that whether I'm braking or the engine or truck's getting involved, I'm going to be limited to about 10 miles an hour, which is super cool. Something I didn't touch on earlier from a general like livability standpoint, the adaptive cruise and like lane keep assist are functional, yes, but they feel very archaic when compared to, we have a 23 Pilot Trail Sport with all its newer features in it. Those do work better, admittedly. I should probably brought a water to this adventure. I didn't think I'd talk this long. But either way, something to note though is that they definitely do not work as well as the newer system that's in the Hondas. So this one works and it's not bad, but it's nice. It's a nice addition on a long road trip to have, but ultimately it's not. I do get a lot of false readings from it as well. It's pretty consistently telling me to brake, or that like, hey, you're about to die, and a lot of times there's nothing even there. So that's some stuff that you might want to contemplate, I guess, or just be aware of. That hasn't gotten better or worse over the time that I've owned the truck. It's always been pretty consistent, and it's not been, not been the best, but overall it's been good. So, yeah, other than that, very livable. We go lots of places, and I get asked all the time, how did you get here? And I say, I drove it here. So you can take the truck in a lot of places without a lot of additional changes to it. I think improving the cooling, like I said, is one of the big things for the transmission. Otherwise, you just stop, take 5, not a big deal, and you'll be able to get to where you're going nevertheless. But either way, those are some great things. Another mod that I did do to the truck, and I'll share just because it's something that I've had several people ask me about. I do run the truck with no front sway bar. Admittedly, yes, that is going to be problematic if you are doing an emergency lane change. It is going to produce an oversteer situation, and those are harder to control. It does make it more playful on gravel back roads for sure, but ultimately, you wouldn't probably want to do any emergency lane changes with it. But the reason why I do it is just because, one, I don't want to deal with taking it on and off. and I do run the rear sway bar on the vehicle, but the front is currently an open diff on the truck, and the ABS does get involved to try to mitigate wheel spin, but it doesn't do a very good job. It doesn't do as good as it could if it was able to be recalibrated. If anybody knows any way to do that, that'd be awesome. But either way, it is an open front differential. It gives you the ability to keep the tires on the ground more without the front sway bar, and with the front being an open diff, it's better that they stay on the ground, and ultimately it's going to help you get a little bit further. The thing does flex about as much as a 2x4. It's a very rigid chassis with little tiny T-Rex arms on the front, so you're not going to be getting tons of articulation out of it, but it does help. And the rear with the sway bar is more likely to lift a tire. However, the rear does have the clutch pack, and it can simulate locking the rear wheels together, which in turn can kind of push you through a situation where the tire does come off the ground. You're not going to be just sitting there freewheeling, waiting on hopefully the ABS to get involved. So that's something that we run personally. I recommend you do that with, I'll let you decide. I wouldn't recommend that you necessarily do it, but depending on how you use your truck, it might be something for you. All in all, I have nothing bad to really say about the truck over the 40,000 miles that we've owned it. It's been very livable, it's been very drivable, and it's been a comfortable place to be, really. So if you guys are considering a Ridgeline, I would definitely go check it out. It's much more comfortable than anything I was able to try to drive even several years ago. I do know that there's been some modern, we have new Tacomas are coming out. You've got the GMC twins are there too now, and even the new Ranger is getting an update. So if you're gonna use it 99% of the time, like most people do, where you're driving it around, you're running, doing this, doing that, grabbing stuff from Home Depot, I know it's not sexy, but it's gonna be your truck. That's the one you want. And if you're going to go out and do a ton of off-roading and you got to have everything you got to have, then yeah, it's probably not the right truck for you at this point. But I'll tell you what though, we are working on trying to get as many accessories out there as we can to make this a viable platform for those people who know just about how much adventuring they really want to do. All right guys, have a great day. I'm going to call this quits before I talk forever, and we'll see you in the next one.